So I'm about to turn 29, and by the time this video reaches you, I would have already turned 29.
29? 29?
And as tempting as it can be to spiral into an anxious mess, I thought the best thing to do for this particular birthday was to share everything I've learned in this past era. Consider this your guide, if you will, through the manic force field that is your 20s. Heartbreak truly and forever will be a but it will make you stronger. So starting off with the least personal one that I could think of, heartbreak is something I haven't had a lot of experience with, but what I have had, I can confidently say is enough for my lifetime. My first relationship was 7 years in length. It's one of those situations where it's your first partner and you put things at the back of your mind that may make you feel a little bit doubtful about the relationship. Near the end of our relationship, I started going to a new gym, and this personal trainer there, I think you can see where this is going, took a liking to me and decided that he would like to court me and basically trying to swoon me or win me over. And it was enjoyable talking to someone and feeling like your voice is heard and that you are special. Very shortly after, I broke it off with my long-term boyfriend and started seeing this guy. I quickly found out that men will basically say anything to get what they want. This was probably the worst experience of my life due to the fact that you build an idea of someone up in your head and an idea of what you two would be like together, but it never comes to the surface. Basically your whole world implodes, explodes, and your dreams just come tumbling to the ground. I was heartbroken. I was absolutely heartbroken over someone that I had dated for 2 weeks. But I thank my lucky stars this happened to me, because it taught me that I'm strong enough to leave a long-term relationship in the search for something more, and I'm strong enough to get over someone that I was infatuated by for a very short time. And after all of that heartbreak, I've finally found someone who gets me and who loves me and who sees me for who I am. I don't believe in fate or anything, but I just feel like some things happen for a reason, or things just happen that teach you a lesson and then you know what to look for in a relationship. And I really don't want to make this a soppy video, but sometimes I will catch myself when we're watching a film, for example, just looking over and thinking, how did I get you? That in itself has taught me why I went through all of that shit. I truly believe that all of us, including you watching this, is worthy of love, but it's so hard to see through people's lies and deception, and it often is the case that you have to go through this kind of situation to become less gullible and actually see people for who they really are. Having a variety of jobs makes you more interesting. I can honestly say this has made me the person that I am today. It has made me more interesting, it's made me less socially awkward. My first ever job was at a National Trust property. So I was a room guide at a Tudor mansion, but then I got my first paid job at this mansion. This job was a sales assistant position. Then I went to university, and in my third year I had a part-time job at a beauty store, and I actually got promoted to senior sales before then leaving to take another job at a museum. Do you know what? I actually really enjoyed this job. It was about 3.5 years I was there for. I could be working in an Edwardian pub one day, I could be working in the cafe or serving people on reception, and that's probably why I stayed there for so long. I'm just going to quickly gloss over the fact that I worked at the NHS for about 2 months before quickly leaving, and that was primarily due to having an awful team that I worked with. So after leaving that, I quickly went back to that museum and did a few more months working there. I ended up, after a few months back at the museum, being transferred to another museum. So I moved to 2 museums in a different city, and that was a really different kind of job because they were such small venues. After almost a year, I moved to another National Trust property. I was actually in business support, which is a completely different role to what I'd done before. I still talked to customers on the phone, but my main job was to look after the site itself and make sure everything was running smoothly. I really enjoyed that part of the job because it got me out and about in the fresh air, and the settings around Mottersfont were absolutely beautiful. I would take a walk on my lunch breaks, just walking through a field of cows. It was phenomenal. I'm very much a country gal, and this job definitely satisfied that craving in me. It was only 6 months that I stayed at this job because I just needed more money. As much as I love working in heritage, the pay is really, really not great. So at the moment I work at a educational institution. As you grow, you change as a person, and therefore your interests are going to change, and you're going to want to try new things and develop in new areas. If you put it into perspective, our work lives take up around a third of our lives. So you need to just surround yourself with new, exciting prospects all the time, because otherwise you're just gonna start to lose your sanity and that drive. If you feel like you're in a job that just doesn't suit you, it doesn't agree with you, try something new. That is the whole point of your 20s, to learn new skills and to develop and have fun meeting new people. You will gain and lose a lot of friends. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is because there were big breakups that happened and we had to go our separate ways. It happens. Life gets in the way. You move to new cities, you get new jobs, and you lose touch. It is such a natural, inevitable thing. As an example, when I was at uni, you see each other every single day, so you're naturally going to fulfill those obligations of friendship. But as soon as that ends, you start to realise who really wants to stay in your life. As I slowly make my way to 30, I'm looking forward to having relationships or making new relationships with people that are going to last longer than they did in my 20s. And I can only hope that some of those relationships are with the people that I call friends now. I made friends with someone whilst buying this iPhone that I'm recording on, and then I met her again when we did a fitness instructing course. So I can honestly say that if there is such a thing as fate, that was very much in play, and it wanted us to become friends. And my other 3 friends are from that big museum venue that I worked at. But please don't be alarmed if this happens to you when you go through similar processes in life, because it happens to everyone, and it doesn't mean that you are not deserving of friendships. It just means that people are busy and people are geographically further away from each other. Now, lesson number 4 is a big one for me, because I am an advocate for mental health due to the experiences I've lived through, and I will make a separate video on this because it is such an important topic to talk about. But lesson number 4 is that your thoughts will lie to you. Your 20s are a very trying time in your life, in that your confidence isn't yet built 100%, and you don't really have a fully formed identity, and therefore your thoughts can take you to some very deep places. I have suffered from anxiety and depression at many points in my life, and it's a contribution of many factors, including life changes and the fact that you're still getting to know your body and yourself as a person. My anxiety and depression were at their highest points during my early to mid 20s. I have actually made a video about not knowing your meaning in life, so if you want to watch that after this video, it's right here. But that is also a very big factor in why this can happen. My mental health has never been more important to me than at this point in my life, and that is due to the fact that I have lived through a progressive state of my mental health getting worse over the years. So it started in my late teens and slowly worsened year after year. Look after yourself and be kind to yourself during these years, because you may have already realised the impact that those deep, dark thoughts can have on you. One of the best ways of coping with this is to journal everything that is going on in your head. Pop it down on a piece of paper, because that is the best way to get it out of your mind and onto something not living. Whatever self-care looks like to you, just do it, because it will genuinely help you long term. I love animals more than I love people, and I always get a lovely tinge of just joy after I petted a dog. That mixed with the exercise and being outside and getting that vitamin D, it makes me feel like me. You've got to do things you don't want to do. So for example, when I moved into this house with Sam, I had an idea of what I had to do to upkeep the house, to keep it clean, to keep it tidy. It has been one of the most exciting experiences of my life, but I don't think I realised how much you do have to put in, and so often as well. It's just one of those things. Same with DIY. I thought I loved to paint, but it's become more of a chore than anything, and I have to sort of schedule time in to make sure I get the painting done. When you are moving out on your own and you're taking on responsibilities such as bills and paying rent and cleaning and tidying your own house or your own place, you have to sort of think about it in the grand scheme of things and realise that this is life. And I'm very much in the mindset now that to combat the fact that we have to do stuff we don't want to do, you gotta have as much fun as possible when you're in your 20s. This is the time to do it. I remember me and my colleague were having a conversation about a year ago, and I remember her distinctly saying, do not put more money towards overpaying your mortgage, at least not right now. Your 20s and 30s are a time where you should be enjoying life. You should be going abroad and experiencing new cultures and eating fun foods and going to tourist attractions. It is not the time to save more in order to pay more. Life is out there waiting to be experienced, and you only have this one life, so live it. To conclude then, your 20s are a very interesting time in your life and they should never be taken for granted. If you are in your early 20s or if you just turned 20, then you have a very exciting 10 years to come in your life. All I'd say is just be patient and caring to yourself throughout this whole time. Once you have that down and you understand how to look after yourself, it's going to be so much more easy to do that later in life. As I approach my 30s, I am looking forward to decorating this house and getting it finished and making it feel like our home. I'm looking forward to visiting new places, going on a holiday, and in the next 5 to 10 years actually moving to an entirely different city that me and Sam have fallen in love with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, it'd be great if you give it a like, and if you feel inclined to do so, please also subscribe. It would really help the channel. Thank you for watching.